Welcome everyone. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Deborah.
Diaspora. I am a gospel singer and I'm participating to this show today.
Thank you. Welcome to the show. And then I have Penny here.
My name is Femi Awadeli. I'm in ministry. I'm married with children.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And then Kelly.
Hello, I'm Kelly Amuzu. Passionate about having conversations that we need to have as Africans to heal and change our lives for the better. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Today's topic is around the African diaspora. Why is it that Africans don't like buying or encouraging or using the African diaspora entrepreneur services or products? So this is a conversation I usually have with people all the time. They come to me, they need services or products, and this is how it goes. Hey, do you know someone that does this, or do you know someone that sells this product? By the time I'm ready to respond to them, they go, wait a minute, what nationality are they? So the pain point is when it's African, it's not good. What do you guys think about it? Femi?
Thank you. Good question, Deborah. And nice meeting Kelly and I know Kofi. It's a, I don't know if I should say it's a myth, but there is some level of truth to it. But generally, I think if there is, it depends on the product being sold. So for instance, Africans will go to another African if you are selling food. So, so in Omaha, for instance, there's Felix and there's Victor. And Africans go to Victor and Felix and even talk politics because they cannot get that product with somebody else. But also, there's the issue of quality. Sometimes we Africans, I don't want to use the word cut corners, but we are not very conscious of quality. And sometimes the other person wants quality. You know, if I want somebody to paint my house and you're an African, if I call you and you don't paint it very well and you expect me to say, oh, you're my brother, I won't call you the next time. I will call somebody who can paint my house. That's one thing. The other thing, and I would say, is that sometimes we Africans, we are very conscious. We don't want another African who is in the know to know our business. I'm married to a physician, and I remember when she used to have her own clinic, that many Africans will consult with her on the side. Oh, doctor, tell me, doctor, tell me. But once they get insurance, they won't come to her clinic, they will go to somebody else's clinic. And eventually, it's because they don't want, this is somebody that they are familiar with, and they don't want her in their business. They don't want her to know the whole, whether it's immigration, whether whatever it is, the situation is. So they would rather go to somebody who don't know. So in my opinion, trying not to share everything, quality is part of, and the product, if the product is available somewhere else, you will use whoever is good.
Well, thank you for that. So quality is one key. Kelly, what do you think?
Many things. I will take us further back.
Okay.
We have a history as Africans where we have been, I don't want to put the blame on somebody else, but we have allowed ourselves as a people to be brainwashed. I will say brainwashed. and to have this belief that we are less than. This comes from, I even want to say centuries. So this relationship that we have with certain entities of the world, certain countries of the world, most of our countries were colonized, right? And during that time, it was one of the biggest results of those experiences is that we came out of it still subconsciously believing that we are less than, believing that anything that is great must come from the white man, whether we realize it or not. And it kept being passed down from generation to generation. So you have that in our blood that we need to work on. Secondly, yes, we have come to a point where we've decided, okay, we are free. We want to be free. But I strongly believe that in our minds, we're still not free. Because, yes, you decide, I am going to do this. I also am going to create a service or product just like the white man. And I'm going to do it as an African person. And that's where I join Femi's point, quality. You start doing the work, but for many reasons that are not necessarily your fault, but that you can work on, one being the lack of training, okay? Number two being this factor that we have inside of us, not knowing the power that we are, thinking that we are less than. And then the third one, just these societal fears that we've been growing with. So you put all that together as an entrepreneur, there's a lot of things I need to work on. If I put myself in the shoes, and I am one of an entrepreneur, there's a lot of things I need to work on before I even start complaining and whining about people not coming to me. There's more, but I will stop there for now.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kofa.
All right, thank you. I will just corroborate Femi and Kelly. They said it all. I will just add there's the issue of culture and perception. The culture which we come from has a great role to play in this. The way we grew up, considering people around us. Most of the time we think anything that comes from our neighborhood or our surrounding is not good enough. So most of the time we prefer going outside of our surrounding to have business. The perception, I will say, when something comes from Africa or from an African, we already have this thought that this thing might not be good, without even trying in the first place. That's a huge problem in our African community. We don't even give it a try before we start judging. Those are the things we need to change, first of all, before we can be able to do business with each other.
So thank you for that. I remember during this week, we started a conversation. We had people post their testimonies via Kelly's Facebook page. And I remember reading a testimony from someone that needed to move. I don't remember the state. But first, the mover is an African entrepreneur. They came late. So that's probably,
She kept calling them. They wouldn't respond, if I recall. And she eventually had to get somebody else to start helping her to move. That was how late this person was. You know, and I think this was a paid service. It wasn't free, right?
Yeah.
So that's one example of many, right? But we do have to start talking about this. Why was he late? I'd like to know. What makes us behave in that way? And I think there's another aspect too that I would like to add to this. Not only don't we do business with other Africans, we even treat our own circle worse. When my friend comes to me to do business, I'm no longer in the friendship zone. I'm in the business mode. You're my customer. You're my client. I treat you different. We're not in the friendship zone anymore. I will give you the same level of treatment that I give every single client. That service that I give the white man, I'm going to give it to you. We don't do that. Oh, this is my friend. They will understand I'm busy. No. Your friend is paying you. Why am I looking at you? This is the camera. Your friend is paying you money. No, the treatment should be the same. No difference. Even if it's your father is paying you money for your service. And you'll be surprised. The better you treat your people, the quicker and fastest they would even say more about your business, because then they've experienced it. They will support and talk about it because you're their friend. But once they've experienced your service, it's a different level, right? Anyway.
You know, I'll say something to what you said, Kelly, because you mentioned something that is very interesting. The issue is not colonization. In the lifetime of Dr. Miles Monroe, he will always say something about, he calls something poverty mentality.
Yes.
If I'm correct, if I remember correctly, what he meant by that is some of us who came from some African background, we've figured out that, okay, now that I've left home, I'm rich now. I can buy whatever car I have, and then we start to buy Mercedes that we cannot afford. So that is another issue that we need to deal with in terms of, you know, the poverty mentality. But in terms of the topic that we're talking about, there's something, Kelly and I were talking before we started on the air about anthropology. Different cultures have different ways of doing things. And in Africa, we do not have the culture of suing somebody. We don't. When there is a dispute, you go to the elders. And typically elders, and when I say Africa, I mean Africa. I have been blessed to visit many countries. So I you know, from Burkina all the way to South Africa, we are similar. So we go to the elders, and basically the elders' job is not to adjudicate like a lawyer will, but to ensure that there's no conflict. So we come from a place where when your family do something to you, you don't sue. Like you just said, even if you sue, elders will come and say, you are suing
Your brother.
you are suing your brother. Because of money. Because of how much is the money? And before you know it, you can't sue. You can't basically sue, which is what I tell people, that if you're going to do business, even with your family back home, do it with somebody you can sue. Because, no, seriously, do it with somebody you can sue. You cannot sue your brother. I don't care if it is $1 million. Because by the time the whole family come to you and say, what have you been eating, where you come from? So that our anthropology culturally is that. And because of that, we do, I hate to say, shoddy jobs. Because somebody cannot sue me, you know, because that they will, even if they say they will sue me, by the time you go to court, even the judge is the one that will tell you, don't you have elders in your house? So that is our culture. So when we come here, the same thing happens. And so we now convince ourselves, while I'm here, I can do this. Also, I need to add there that because of the anthropology or culture that I mentioned earlier, in Africa generally, at least I can talk of Nigeria, we don't have process for a lot of things. There's no process. I'm talking to you. I started driving at age 13. At age 13. And when I was 15, one of my aunties, who used me as when she needs somebody to drive her, she just, hey, Femi, come, let's go. She just came home one day and gave me my driver's license.
Wow.
That's how I got my first driver's license.
Drive-through driver license?
That's no driver lesson. Hey, by that time, I've been driving since I was 13. So it is, we don't have process, and that affects us. So somebody who grew up with getting his license, getting, if he needs something, his father calls somebody who knows somebody. So we don't, our process is not firm, and unfortunately that whole thing has caused us not to have quality, like we said earlier. And when we come here, we feel I don't have to. I don't have to. I can even talk about church. I can even talk about things. But once somebody knows you have quality, once an African knows that who is the best lawyer in Omaha, and they know that this African guy, he will collect his money, no, no, whatever, but he will deliver what he says. People will go to him.
Yeah.
I don't want to mention name, but there's an African like that everybody knows that, hey, he will charge you, but he will deliver, and he has a lot of clients. So once we can establish, and we ourselves, I like what you said, training. Maybe I will there. But those are the things that I think we really have to come out of that mindset of shortcutting the process. If you're gonna have, I'm amazed at how Chinese people have Chinese food, and it's not Chinese people that go there. Chinese food is more from Western country here. But if you go to other cities, which I go a lot, and you see African restaurants, it's only Africans that patronize it. And I have seen many African restaurants in so many places. The quality is just not there. Why can't you make a good... what does it take to have a restaurant that white people will want to come? That how you serve it, your servers, everybody is professional. They will come. But somehow we just think, if I put it together like this, I don't know if some of you have, if you see what I'm saying.
I agree. If I can add to that, I love what you've mentioned. I think this whole conversation can be summarized with these two words: poverty mentality. Seriously. Why don't we go the extra mile? I link it back to poverty mentality. What is poverty mentality for me? Survival. We grew up in survival.
Yes.
And when you are in survival mode, all you worry about is, what can I eat today? Do I have enough for today? And your whole life, your brain has been functioning like that. So even when you're in an environment where you can get more than what you need for today, your brain doesn't go there. I swear I have functioned like this myself the first 16 years that I was in this country. I'm not even joking. I had all the information and opportunities. My eyes were so closed. I could not see because I was still in survival mode.
Shortcuts.
So, do I have enough for today? Hey, what do I need to do to have enough? And we stop there. And the work we have to do is so deep to break that barrier and to believe that we are worthy of receiving more. Because until you believe, you will not take actions to create something different. It's very deep. But we're talking, we're healing.
Thank you so much. Before we continue, I would like to acknowledge the one behind the camera. Her name is Medea. Hi, Medea. She's behind the camera, so you won't be able to see her, but thank you so much. So, Kofa, they've said a lot.
Yes.
What is your perspective when it comes to the poverty mentality?
I believe Kelly said a lot about it, and I will come back to something she said earlier about friendship, like introducing friendship into business. As like African, we have that kind of mindset a lot. Whenever entrepreneur side and client side, we love to bring in friendship. And I noticed that is a business killer. It's a talent killer. It's an opportunity killer. When you bring friendship into a business, like Kelly said, when she has like a friend in front of her for a business, friendship idea, there is a stop sign there. And we dive ourselves into business, and we talk business. And you treat the person in front of you as a client in the same level as you treat other people coming to you. So if we Africans want to grow in our business or have business with each other, I believe we need to stop seeing, like when we are involved in business, stop seeing each other as friends and do business. Once the business is done, we can continue in friendship. If we do that, I believe we have a success. For example, when it comes to pricing, I'm included. If he's a friend, I would like a different price because he's my friend. And the friend, since he's a business partner, but I'm his friend, he won't give the same seriousness to what he's going to do to me
Exactly.
as he will do to other people. It doesn't help. If we want to continue, move on as a business, we need to change those mentality. The poverty of mind comes from there.
Well, thank you so much. And that takes me to what Mr. Femi said earlier, that if you know you cannot sue this person, don't do business with them. And that is so true. And I would like to also comment. For instance, you talk about quality of service. I'm not putting anybody on the spot, but we're trying to break the barrier. So please forgive me, I'm not putting anybody on the spot. When you have car problems and you take your car to mechanics, what do they do here? When you go to dealership, they will give you a loaner car for the time being while they're fixing your car. I personally like going to African mechanics because of the pricing, but convenience is not there. You have to call somebody to give you rides, and it becomes a hassle. So we really, really, really need to work on the quality of service. If this is something that we take seriously and we want to work on, let's improve the quality of service. Kelly, you look like, it seems like you wanted to say something.
Yeah, there's a lot that's been said. I had a point that I was thinking about when he was speaking. I lost my train of thought for a second. Not only quality of service, in quality of service, here it came back. In quality of service, I also include communication. Okay, like the example that our friend gave us during the week where she was calling the person and they wouldn't. Okay, my brothers and sisters, it's very simple. If you're going to be late, just call. Just call. Call or send a message and give a time frame so that the person knows what to do. If it's going to be an hour, then I know I'm going to use my hour to do something else that's going to be productive. If it's going to be 5 minutes, then I know I'm going to wait for you. Communicate timely. Be clear in your communication and be honest. We like to lie. Let's tell the truth. As Africans, we like to lie. And we think it's helping. We think, okay, if I tell the person the truth, they're going to be mad. Guess what? Your lie is going to make them mad anyway. Down the line, they're still going to be mad. Because they will find out that you lied to them. So why not be truthful and tell the truth? Number 3, you have the choice as a service provider to deny clients. You don't have to say yes to everybody. But there's a way. Somebody doesn't want you to come do your hair with them anymore. They will never tell you. They will give you all kinds of attitudes, all kinds of wahala. Just tell me, my friend, when you come here, I'm not happy. I cannot serve you anymore. Seriously. Like, I'm kidding. But those are things we can do honestly as business people. Like, for me, I've decided everything I do, the energy has to be in alignment and make me feel good. If it's not in alignment with my vision, I will not participate. You can bring me millions. If you're not in alignment with my vision, I'm not doing business with you. And not because I don't like you, just because we're not aligned. And that's a conversation that I would honestly have. I say, you know what? I so appreciate you wanting to do business with me, but I don't think that we are a perfect match for each other at this point. Tell the truth. You don't have to accept. We are so, again, poverty mentality. We are so afraid of rejection ourselves that we don't know how to communicate to people so that they don't feel rejected, but they know the truth. We go around. We go in circles.
Mr. Femi?
I think we've talked a lot about the solution, but because of the way I think, I just want to itemize them. The first one is the fact that we need to change our thinking. And back home, there's lack of process. There's that cultural thing of this is what it is, and we all accept it, elders and all of that. We need to start changing that even back home. So when you are dealing with somebody, you have a contract, and if this contract is violated, I will sue you. I don't care if you are my mother or my father. Once that happens once or twice,
Consequences.
People will know you. I don't want to bring myself into this, but in my family, I have a reputation. I don't do things that are not straight, and I don't. It took a while, but people know me for who I am, and nobody come to me with nonsense. So that whether you like me or you don't like me, that is none of my. It doesn't bother me. So that's number one.
I heard about you.
Yeah. So that is what we got to get to, that point where you have that reputation. And I've told a lot of my pastor friends, why are you waiting for people to come to church? You start at 2. I know a pastor who actually started a wedding on time and the couple was not there.
Oh, wow.
Seriously, he did.
Wow.
He started, and so everybody was rushing in when they see the pastor had told the organist to start playing. Those are things that we need to start doing. And then number 2, so it's our mindset change to, okay, now I'm dealing business. And we need to stop thinking our market is other Africans. I don't know who I was talking to, but I was talking to somebody, and I told that person, just because you are African does not mean that your client, that you should limit your clientele to Africans. That type of thinking will kill you.
That's true.
If you have a business, whatever business, there might be more of your client, but start saying, why can't I share this product with everybody else? So start thinking and give the best product. It's because I deal with church people. I'll use church example. African churches always wonder why people don't come to their church. Of course they can't come because of the process. Back home, church is 100 hours. We are culturally singing and dancing people. We do all of that, and our preaching is it's not so much teaching. So for me, after God knows how many years in America, it's very difficult for me to sit in a church beyond 1 hour, 30 minutes. Distraction, and I will start looking at what is going on. So we need, for us to attract, we need to, how am I marketing? What am I marketing? Who is my target? What is the quality? Am I following the procedure? What is my business model? And once you do that, Africans will initially fight you, but I promise you, they will come back to you once they know that you deliver, and once they know that you are principled. But that mentality is something we need to, and it's not easy, like Kelly said. It is absolutely not easy to get rid of that, whether it's poverty mentality or lack of process. We really, 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 really have to and start seeing ourselves as, I can compete with Anybody. Elon Musk was not born in America. The guy who made Tesla. He was born in South Africa and went to Canada before he came here. So our accent is not the problem. So if you think your accent is your problem, your accent is not your problem. I teach in America. One of the first class I teach, somebody said they can't hear me and they left. Actually, 2 white couples. Today, those couples are my friend. Now, my accent is still thick, but they hear me. They hear me now. So if Arnold Schwarzenegger can become the governor of California, and he doesn't even know how to call California. So it is not your accent, it is quality, thinking, think like a business person, get educated, train in business, and look at everybody as your market and treat it, whether it's African or everybody, this is the product that I'm going to deliver.
Yeah.
Kelly?
I want to add something to that. Again, a very deep cultural aspect that we have ingrained in us is our need for acceptance. Nobody, I'm going to repeat, including your mother and your father, nobody needs to give you permission to do what you plan to do to accomplish your vision. As a matter of fact, when you start, that's where somebody said last week that we don't support each other. When you start, nobody is going to understand what you're trying to do. And mostly, we call it love. Oh, I don't want you to fail. Oh my God, I don't want you to lose your money. Hey, are you sure this is a good idea? Don't do it, don't do it. You're going to hear a lot of don't do it, don't do it. It's about time that we also learn to trust in our own selves and trust our vision and not wait for permission from our environment. A lot of great ideas just get killed by having a conversation with friends, mom, dad, family who say, oh my God, oh, how are you going to do that? No. Hey, you're going to lose your money, don't do it. And then we don't try. You don't need permission. Eventually, you do the things that Femi just listed. You train yourself. You learn the process. You focus on quality. You deliver a good service. Eventually, it can take 10 years. Eventually, they will get it. They will. So at the beginning, because it's going to be a loner's journey, and we're not used to that. We are raised in a communal, we are raised in community. We do everything in community. And it's wonderful. But for this, for us to grow into another space of realizing our potential, we're going to have to go at it alone for some time until everybody starts getting this mentality that, oh, wait, it's actually good to try to be an entrepreneur. It's not bad. Because right now, it's not a very good idea. Until many of us have demonstrated and it's become a culture. It's going to be a loner's journey. And it's okay. You're fine.
And you know, something also that I would like to talk about, all of you have mentioned that it's an issue of mindset. So what I've noticed is entrepreneurs, they have their own circle. I mean, everybody has its own circle. And some people told me that the reason why they don't go to some African entrepreneurs is because they belong to a circle that I don't belong to, and I don't want to associate myself with that circle. What are your thoughts on that?
All right. I believe everything we're saying here is turning around education. Yeah, the key point is educating ourselves first, and then educate our audience or those we are doing business with. When we are well educated and we change our mentalities, there are things we're not going to really worry too much about. Me, for example, I am in a process of studying a business, and just up front, I limited my audience, my market. I put a limit to it, that, okay, this is my target, my market. And I'm happy Deborah and Medea, they asked me a lot of questions. when we were having a conversation during the week, why did you want to target this community solely? Because my mind is kind of, I'll say, close. I didn't have this a big picture of the business.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's a fear
Mm-hmm.
of what people will say or other people will say.
Mm-hmm.
And I know my community, they will understand what I'm doing because we are in the same circle.
Comfort zone.
Yes, they will understand. So I rather stay there.
Mm-hmm.
But if we want to grow as business, we need to educate ourselves, change those perspectives of the same things, and extend our view to others. No matter what they say, we don't really care. They will follow us at the long run.
You know, I'll say something. We cannot. We're always going to have circles.
Yes.
Each other's circles. Once you are in a gathering, large gathering, some people are going to feel comfortable with each other. Some people are not going to feel comfortable with each other. There's nothing you can do about that. But as a business person, you should be able to serve everybody in the circle. You should be able to say, hey, out of whatever circle you are, as long as you are able to do it. Let me give an example of somebody who is a tailor or a whatever, a designer or whatever. The Africans, Africans have been sewing clothes in this country for a long time, but they sew stupid things. But somebody became very smart. Somebody became very smart and started and designed something that had high quality, to the point that everybody in Hollywood now want to dress in African print.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
somebody came up with jacket.
Yes.
I mean, with Ankara, somebody, and before you know it, Hollywood, everybody in Hollywood now want to show that they have an African designer. So,
and they're not buying them from us.
well, so that's my point. Somebody took it, the designer, turned them into whatever. For me too, back home, when they want to send something to me, they just send African clothes that was sewn by some tailor down the street. I don't send it to me because it always stay in my closet. But one time they went to this tailor charged a lot more money that I said, whoa. But do you know, after that tailor sent me the first African thing, now I have like, I don't know, maybe 10 and I paid the money from him because now I see quality. When I wear it, I feel good. So that is what I'm saying. We can get out of the box. We can think beyond. If I have a product, except God tell you, this is the community I am sending you to for now. Because when I started ministry, my fight with God was, God told me, I'm sending you first of all to the African diaspora. And I was fighting God, no. Send me to everybody. I don't want African diaspora people. They are trouble people. But that's okay. Now, by God's grace, God has used me for African diaspora people, but at the same God has used me for everybody. So don't have your mindset that this is I'm limited in this city. Some of you know me in this city. When I used to be in the political arena or whatever arena, I don't care who you are. I will, if I need something, I will go to you. I will speak slowly if I need to so that you can hear me. But if I'm mad, I will speak fast. But I do not see you as more whatever than me, because I see the person that is in me is bigger than anybody else. We need to have that too. So it is the fact that we're going to fight, or you have your own circle. If your circle doesn't like my circle and we don't talk to each other, if Kelly comes and bring a nice cloth, Your circle and my circle we buy because of the quality and the design. Whether you like me or you don't like me, if Felix or Victor we go to their store, just because you and I are not talking doesn't mean we will not meet there to buy gari or buy whatever it is that we buy. Know your target, sell your market, know your audience. That is what people do, and change the mentality. I like what you said, Kofi. Change the mentality that this is of limiting yourself, and that thing that we come from back home of limited, of process of circumventing the process to get, okay, I'll get it done in 2 days. That's not how people do it here. People here, even if it's going to be ready in 2 days, they will not tell you 2 days. They will tell you 4 days. That's customer service. So that when they bring it to you in 3 days, you are like, oh,
Exactly.
that is
Exactly.
smart. That's
Exactly.
customer service.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. If people tell you to cook for them, don't bring the food 4 hours after the party has started. That happened in Dallas to my family just a couple of weeks ago. We went there for party. We waited 4 hours after the party started. And they kept calling. At some point, she didn't even answer anymore. And finally, after all the white people have come, then the person came with food. And my wife was very mad. I mean, I just had to calm her down. But you cannot do that. Anyway.
I think the timing is another subject we need to talk about. Yeah, we see that a lot in our community. That's why most of people don't want to have like business with Africans because of timing. We don't respect the timing. We always talk about African time, African time. We don't have the time. We need all to align behind the same time and be able to do business with each other.
It's part of business practice. If you're going to be in business, timing is part of that. Promise. Okay, I promise. If Deborah say, I will get you a business, your business detail in 3 days. Just because that client is Kelly does not mean that after 3 days you now say, well, I was so busy. You know your son is giving me problems. No, it's not my son, it's your son. But promise me 5 days so that when you deliver putting all those things into consideration. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then we have the audacity to have an attitude in the example.
When you get
gave.
mad.
Yeah. We have the audacity to have an attitude because the example you just gave.
Yeah.
So she told me 3 days. I'm expecting something in 3 days.
In 3 days.
Right? 3 days come, I don't see anything.
Yeah.
If I go ask her, she now insults me.
Yes.
You know I have this, why? And then she will go around, talk about, this Kelly woman, she stresses me too much. Why? Your word is your bond. You say 3 days. If it's not gonna be 3 days, you know the 3 days are coming. You already know you're going to be late. Why not communicate? And then don't have the audacity to be mad. I want to say this thing too about our attitude. So, again, because of this poverty mentality, now that we are understanding there is a certain pride to being a business owner, right? And we should be proud to be business owners, but we take it a little too far. So now because I have a business, I can just talk to people however, whatever. Or if I'm providing a certain service and or a product, and my client is telling me, or they want to give me specifications on what they want. Some people even open their mouths and say, you now want to teach me my job. Because the client is expressing what they want. It is your job to listen. They have the right to express exactly what they want. You listen from A to Z. You calm down, and if there are things in there that you don't do, you just simply say, I'm sorry, this one I don't do. That's it. You don't have to get mad at the person for expressing what they want. For money that I'm going to pay you. You're going to know what I want, eh? Because I'm going to pay you. This money is coming out of the person's pocket. Have respect for the fact that, and appreciation for the fact that they came to you to give you this money. So they have the right to express everything that they want and need. Then you will carry that and say, you know what, this I can do, this I cannot do. Simple. And if they choose not to, that's their right too. You know? So this whole, there was another point I wanted to make. We're talking a lot about getting into business, investing into training, investing into this, all that takes money, right?
Yes.
And sometimes, number one, we don't realize when you are starting a business and you are not in a space of peace when it comes to your basic needs, you're going to cause trouble. Because mentally, you are worried about money. And when you're worried about money, your attitude is going to chase away money.
That is true.
When we're starting businesses, I'm saying it because I've done it. This is what I would advise everyone who wants to be a business owner or who is a business owner and is in a situation where you're depending on the business that's not yet a sure source of revenue. Let's figure out a way. Take your time, slow down. Figure out a way to make sure that your rent is not going to be a stress for you every month. Your food is not a stress for you every month. Your transportation is not a stress for you every month. If you have to do another job, to be able to take care of your basic needs, please do so. Because until you have that peace with your basic human needs, the quality of the work that you are going to provide is not going to serve you, and it's not going to attract people. I'm saying it because I did it.
You know, I've done it too. It's a mistake. I mean, I'm guilty as charged. When I started and failed at a lot of different businesses. And I remember at some point, money was an issue. So instead of focusing on the work that I needed to deliver, once they paid me, you know, even I was able to meet that basic need that I needed. And, you know, it took me time to deliver that service. So it's an issue. I'm very happy that that's a very interesting point that you're bringing.
Can I say something to that? I think I said earlier that my wife is a physician and we had a clinic for 9 years. First of all, business in America has a lifespan of about 7 years. That is the general statistics. If a business, they say, survives 7 years, it's more likely to survive. And I find that to be true, especially with the clinic. And for us, with the clinic, it survived. It was starting to take care of itself with a lot of pain in the beginning. And we got to the point where, because of the policies of healthcare in America, we either put more money in it for it to grow, or we close it and and we chose the latter. And I'm happy we did. However, having said that, I think other business seal, which is your business, what I would recommend is this as part of training people who want to start business. We still, again, as Africans, since we're talking about Africans here, we still start business, especially if we're immigrants. Not because they're African, like my children now, they are American. You can call them African because of their name, but they are. But if we are immigrants, we still have the mindset of home, where shortcuts, mindset change, and all those things. Maybe that's something that can be part of the business model. That when you have business, back home you borrow from his, borrow from that, whether you pay them or not. You don't have to pay them.
Because your elder is going to
say, so they too, when they are giving to you, they are thinking maybe not. But here you have to get a loan, and the bank don't care who your father or your mother is. So those are things that we need to take into consideration. When I was in Nigeria, I remember very well working for an uncle for like a couple of months, And anytime we get money from product of sale, he actually dips into that money, cash, to go and buy food for that afternoon. So that a lot of us Africans, we don't separate personal money from business money. Many don't even go to Nebraska and give Nebraska $20 to maintain their, they don't even know they need to do that. So here there's a process, there's a rule of law. Somebody needs to teach them. Somebody needs to have, that's another thing. They don't even think they need a training, somebody to tell them, this is, if you're going to do business, watch for this, watch for this, watch for this. Here, that is one thing they do. They before you start a business, they call you into meetings. They tell you, this is the procedure, that is the procedure, follow this, don't follow that, don't do this, don't do that. And so maybe, if I'm appealing to those listening to us, people who are in business consulting, ask, do your homework, have a business consultant, and then maybe you have a business consultant who can help you see the African mindset that you have before, and then hopefully help you change that a little bit so that your mindset is one of, no, I'm not limiting my clientele. No, I'm going to get a good product. I'm not going to shortcut on the product. I'm going to have a contract regardless of who come, who doesn't come. My business will grow. I have this incubation period, and that, you know, if I maintain quality, it will grow. So that is what I would recommend.
That's a great recommendation. Basically, taking our cultural aspects into the business equation. And this is applicable whether you are here in the US or back home. Because I was back home in 2017, 2018, and the problem is the same. Entrepreneurship, especially in Francophone Africa, is still very new, right? So you might, as business consultants, having been exposed to this very organized process, you might have great business to do to go train people back home in Africa. Yes. They might not have the money to pay you, but organizations who are now investing in new young entrepreneurs may have the money to get trainers to train them because they're investing in these young ones. Oh, don't get me started. So, so I found out when I was back home, there's this, I'm not naming any names, there's this governmental entity that decided to spend millions and millions into young entrepreneurs where they would lend them money and so that they would start a business. Great idea. Everything we're talking about here was not discussed, wasn't part of the process, the cultural aspect. So they find themselves 2-3 years later with a whole bunch of youngsters who are in debt because they took the money and they didn't know how to run a business. They bought a car, they got married, they traveled. You're putting money of a certain amount into the hands of youngsters who've never seen that type of money. And you don't talk about their relationship with money? Not possible. So government, at least I was happy to see our government once, but after trying it that way, there was some type of training, but they didn't realize this needs to go deeper. They're not realizing, oh wait, this we are actually losing money versus trying to create entrepreneurs. So they are thinking about it. At least that's for Togo. I don't know about other countries. So you might want to find somebody over there and talk to them and say, all right, people, let's reorganize this because the kids are talented. They are talented, but we just need that system behind them.
I know Kofi needs to talk, but there's a man in Nigeria. He's Igbo man, I've forgotten his name. He used to be the chairman of a bank. You're gonna have to look for his name.
Tony Olumelu.
Yes.
Yes, we all know him.
I don't know him, but I've read what he has done. I think from what I've read about what he has done, he's done what we've talked about. He take people who have good ideas. For 1 year, he mentors them through these things that we've talked about, to the point, not just give them the money, release the money to them at different, so that the natural propensity is when you give them money, They want to show everybody that they are not MD.
Yeah.
But this man is doing it the right way, where, okay, train them, help work with them, teach their business, so that when they have the money, it's about the business first.
Right.
You pay yourself salary so that you are not just spending the business money, and then growth will come.
Yes.
So I think that might be something some consulting person will do it. If Tony Elumelu is doing it, I'm sure it's a good idea.
We definitely can. We can, if we pull resources together and organize.
Yes.
This is very doable.
Yes.
It's actually one of the dreams of mine, but let's not get into
Yes, I will come back to the mentorship or consultancy issue. It's a huge issue. Having consultants available is one thing, and realizing one's need of a consultant is another issue. Personally, I'm studying business. So when I first had the business idea, I was like, I am educated enough to conduct my business on my own. Originally, I didn't come to business seal for business consultation. I was just exposing an idea. Okay, this is what I have in mind of doing. And Deborah and Medea, they suggested I sit down with them, and I didn't even give it a second thought. I said, okay, yes, let's do it. And when I sat down with them, I realized that it's one thing of knowing principles, business principles, but it's another thing of putting them into practice.
Yes.
So even though what they were telling me was something I already know, how do I put it into practice? If we realize those needs within us, that's when we reach out to consultants.
Yes.
And I will advise everybody who want to start business to get business consultant. It's very important. It might cost you, but what I came the realization I came up to is you can't do everything
By yourself.
by yourself. Yeah, thinking, planning, and implementing at the same time. It will be hard on you. If you have people doing the background work for you, it will be easy. So the idea of the government sponsoring the young entrepreneur is a great idea. But throwing money to them like that without coaching any follow-up, it will be a waste of money and waste of talent.
Well, thank you so much. I will just ask one more question. What about confidentiality? When it comes to African business and African diaspora clients, any thoughts?
You know, I was going to bring that up, the issue of trust that we have in our culture. That's one of the things we have to retrain ourselves. This is an individual training now, an individual choice. We are very used to, in America it's called gossiping. We don't call it gossiping, but it is gossiping. Like in Africa we say, oh, I'm just so worried about him, I'm so worried about her. No, it's gossiping. So we really have to, it goes back again to your perception of yourself. If you know, if you've done the work on who you are, and you know that you are a beautiful representation of God, you can only treat others the same. If you know that you are valuable, and that the information that you share with anybody is valuable, you will know that everybody else's information is valuable. So we have to make a choice to be so careful to not allow our cultural habits to not interfere with business. Again, she or he is my friend. Like Femi was saying, when it came to a certain point, the people won't go to his wife anymore, who is a doctor, because they don't want her to know certain things. That's a trust issue, and it's an issue we have amongst ourselves. I say this, how about, instead of concluding that everybody is going to have that behavior, how about we start giving each other at least one chance? before you conclude that if I entrust my information with this African person, they're going to say it, let them do it. That way you even have evidence that they've done it, and you can choose, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. But for you to do that, you have to be someone who has very strong confidence in yourself, so that even if they do it, you're not going to be hurt.
Yes.
It comes back to the self, always. But from yourself, if you choose that you want we want to change how we interact with each other, I always give somebody one chance. I will always give you a chance until you don't take that chance, or you use it to do something that's not productive. Then I know, I have facts. Then I have the right to choose. You know what? I give you a chance, and this is what we did with it. If you are open enough to feedback, I will tell you, this is what you did, and this is why it didn't work for me. We don't talk to each other like that. We don't have honest conversation with each other. We fear so much, they're going to think this, they're going to think that. And we stay on assumptions, and we don't conversate with each other. So, trust is something that you have to risk something in order to create trust. And also at the same time, if I tried with you, and I try with you, and I try with you, and one of you messes it up, the other two that don't mess it up, we're creating something that's going to be, we're going to continue creating something, right? And the one that messes it up eventually is going to see, hey, these people, they're creating something more. And then he might judge something in his mind. He say, oh, wait a minute. Oh, maybe I need to change my behavior. You know what I mean? So maybe slowly we can influence each other that way. But we do have to choose. And we also have to choose. We're talking here. I'm so passionate about buying from my Togolese brothers and sisters. I will always give you a chance. I will come, I will ask you, I say, hey, this is what I need. I think you can do it. Can you do it? This is my budget. Can you do it? Oh, no, that's a low budget. Okay, sorry. I'll go look somewhere. At least I will ask. I will have a conversation, right? So let's remember that trust is an issue that we have, again, because of our culture, but we can work together and go past it. So it starts with you. It really starts with you.
There is our society, African, is kind of very interesting. The dynamic is interesting. We are very communal, which means we come together and we talk. We are very focused on the elders. At the same time, from a spiritual standpoint, religious standpoint, we are taught to be secretive.
Yes.
We are taught to be secretive. So
Yes.
religious, don't tell everybody. Don't.
Yes.
If you tell everybody, that thing will not work. We always believe the reason something didn't work, especially people who get pregnant. You will see their big stomach and they still be telling you I'm not pregnant.
I just finished eating.
So that is the religious aspect. So we have that. Again, that is a mindset change. That one is very difficult, that the religious part of it, but it can be changed. However, there is also rule of law. So in America, there is HIPAA. For those who don't know what HIPAA is, if you are in the medical field, you cannot, by law, discuss your client with even your spouse. You can't. If you do, you are in serious trouble. So, I do lay counseling. I'm in ministry. I've done counseling with a lot of people. My wife knows I'm seeing this person or I'm talking to this person, but what I talk with those people is my business. I don't need to tell her. She don't even want to hear. I don't need to know what client or what. But sometimes in our culture, people think, oh, because I talk to Femi, that means Ola must know. Sometimes they go to her and they say, oh, they start talking to her like she knows, and she looks like them like, and then they say, oh, didn't Femi tell you? And she would say, no, Femi didn't tell me. It's none of my business. Except we are seeing somebody together, then you share. So that is, I like what Kelly said, that is a personal discipline that each person now has to take on, that, I'm seeing this person, and you have to tell you, I'm a big believer in letting your spouse know that I am talking with this person. but the content of the conversation is not is not the other person's business. I am coming here today. My wife does not know Deborah. She's heard about Deborah. I've talked about Deborah's parents. But she needs to know that I'm going to a place where I'm going to be in a room with women. No, seriously, for trust purposes. And so there's a place for sharing certain information, and but the content is another story. So again, these are things that we're going to build over time. But as long as we recognize where it's coming from, we're coming from a place where sisters don't talk to each other, that they are pregnant, yet they are talking on the phone every day. And you wonder, and they say, you have a baby. You have a baby. Don't you have to get pregnant before you have a baby? But they talk every day.
Yes, that's true.
So those are, it is not, again, I don't want to get into the religion of it, but telling somebody that it does not mean that that thing will go down. Again, and that's another topic. So I just want to say, that's part of the mindset thing that we need to change.
Any last comments?
Yeah, I would like to come back a little bit on the issue of trust. And I see that trust goes hand in hand with honesty. Yeah, because we lack of honesty toward each other, so the issue of trust come in. Like being honest with one another. It's like if somebody in a business setting did something you don't like, address it there right away and move on. When you shout your mouth over it and be beyond the scene, you talking about it and what you dislike about the service, let the person know. Be honest, and there will be a change. And if I see that you are honest with me, my relationship with you will be different, especially in business. So I know we mentioned that earlier, but trust and honesty, those two things help us in a business setting to go a long way.
And I would like to add to that. This is an advice I'm giving my colleagues, entrepreneurs, business consultants, or whatever your profession is, to have a satisfaction survey for the client. That way you can evaluate your services, your product, and how you're doing, and that will help you also improve on the quality of your services or your process. And this is something obviously that we do at Business Sales. We will work with you on the process, and also we will help you establish that satisfaction survey with your clients. Yes, Kelly.
No, I wanted to add one little point about the honesty that you noted. Trust that even if you're honest and somebody is not able to receive your honesty, that's okay too. Because not everybody is going to be ready to receive honesty, because most of us have been trained not to. So it's not a problem with you. If you are honest in a respectful and kind way, you can state all your facts. You don't have to be mad and insult, but you can still tell somebody you effed up. Not like that, but I mean, you can say the facts in a very respectful manner, and if somebody doesn't receive it, it's still okay. Your consistency in that honesty is what will bring to you the people who are of like mind, with whom you can work. Because yes, we said it earlier, everybody should be your client, but let's be honest, everybody cannot be your client, right? We can grow our market, but not everybody is going to like your product, and that's okay. So be consistent in your honesty, even if people in the beginning do not get it. Yeah.
Integrity is built over time. Over time, people reputation and character. Reputation is what people think of you. Your character is what you exude based on your values. And people are not going to say you're a good person. It's after they've known you for 10 years or 20 years that they will say,
Especially Africans.
Yes. So in integrity, you know, people that you have known that long, you can say, oh yeah, this is this person. So be concerned about the character. Don't worry about reputation. Once you have a good character, in my case, godly character, then you will have integrity over time. Whether people don't like you, even if they don't like how you say to them, over time they will say, you know what, it will be too frank with you, but you will hear the truth. And that is a integrity. That is integrity right there. That's what you want. Even for your business, you want people to say, you know what, if you want truth, call him. If you don't like too much truth, call that person.
Well, thank you so much. Any last comments?
Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
This
you.
was a fun conversation.
Thanks for watching. I've seen a lot of comments. Somebody said that people value relationship over money. But one thing for sure, when you're in business, first you're trying to solve a problem, and second, money will follow you. So relationships are good, but why are you in business if not for money and to solve people's problems? Thank you for watching. This was a show by Business Sales Consulting Firm. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.